of fashion classics, encounter the pioneering forces of international style. Take a look back at the career of Giorgio Armani.
Putting on an Armani dress or suit gives you a sense of self-confidence that is really unparalleled.
New York City celebrates American designers with a fashion walk of fame.
It establishes New York's position as the fashion capital of the world.
Meet London's alluring leading lady, Vivienne Westwood.
Women are allowed, again, I think, to be flirtatious.
I can make fashion only the way I see life, because fashion is life in a way.
And experience the prolific world of Karl Lagerfeld. And more next. American designers, past and present, were honored when New York City unveiled its Fashion Walk of Fame in the historic Stormont district. The neighborhood plays a vital role in the economy of the city and puts American designers on the fashion map.
Paris has acknowledged its fashion designers for many years now, and we thought it was time that the United States acknowledged that so many world-famous designers have come from America and are contributing to the development of a real American style.
It's really important because it establishes New York's position as the fashion capital of the world.
I think it's wonderful that it's actually the city that's recognizing them as being such a huge part of what makes New York, gives New York its character and really helps to define what the city's all about.
People stop and read and look, and it will be a learning experience, I think.
Calvin he's just, he is American fashion. I mean, that's it.
Calvin Klein has earned a special type of celebrity status with his 40 years in the business. Klein redefined fashion with his signature minimalism and monochromatic palette.
It's always about refinement, and it's always minimal and the opposite of decoration.
The interesting thing about fashion is that it just keeps evolving. I don't know where we're going, but the fabrics have changed so much in the last 10 or 20 years. The silhouettes have really changed a great deal. It's a slow change, but every season you do new things, and that's the fun of fashion.
An astute marketer, Klein set an industry standard with his provocative advertising.
Does sex sell? Absolutely, it sells. We still like sex.
People don't need clothes. You buy clothes because you like the way you look in them, or you like the way you feel in them, and you like what it does for you.
I think it kind of began with jeans and Brooke Shields and billboards all over America. His clothes are on everybody, and he's a very clever marketer.
Claire McCardell was the first woman who understood how to dress a woman in America.
Maryland-born designer Claire McCardell was widely considered to be the pioneer of American sportswear. Her designers' efforts exemplified the workwear of 20th century women.
She's one of the first and foremost, at the forefront of American sportswear design. She liberated women in the kind of 40s and 50s. The idea that women had a life to live that wasn't just being at home and looking after the children, or if they were, they needed to be comfortable too. So I think she invented, day into night, day into evening.
If you look at the collections of Michael Kors, even what Marc Jacobs does, I mean, they couldn't exist without the influence of Claire McCardell.
For over 3 decades, the name of Ralph Lauren has been synonymous with the sophisticated ease of classic American design. Although his beginnings were humble as a Brooks Brothers salesman, Lauren's name can now be found on everything from cologne to jeans.
Ralph Lauren contributed to an American style which combines casualness and glamour.
He's a very great person. His clothes are very beautiful, very women like to wear. He's very casual, kind of comfortable and great.
I believe the clothes were about living and living and home and where you go to dine and where you vacation. My sensibility never came from fashion design. It came from utility and function. I care about where we are in our times, what the economy's about, what the style is, and what I think people are in the mood for.
Well known for his single name only, Iowa native Halston brought innovation to design in the 1970s. He befriended and dressed the most stylish women of the time, including Elizabeth Taylor, Jackie Kennedy, and Liza Minnelli. As a 4-time Coty Award winner, he inspired an entire generation.
When you think of Halston, you don't just think of the clothes. You think of the whole period, of the 70s, and you think of disco, and you think of the characters and what it must have been like to live the high life during that period of time.
He inspired me very much. There was a purity about his clothes, and a simplicity and a certain elegance.
What we did was to make it understandable, stylish, comfortable, relaxed for Americans, so that Americans could believe in American style.
He once asked me what I wanted to look like, and I said, I don't know, female Fred Astaire during the day and a movie star at night. He said, oh, all right. And he did it. It was amazing.
There's no magic about fashion. Fashion's made by people, all kinds of different people.
Although Halston died over a decade ago, his label and vision endures. The groundwork he laid still stands for something undeniably chic. Flashing onto the scene in 1968 with his topless bikini, Rudy Gernreich's fearless approach to all his work earned him a place on the Fashion Walk of Fame.
Well, doesn't everyone want to be able to wear a topless bikini?
Gernreich also blazed the trail when it came to mod fashion.
Gernreich, one of the sort of wild children of fashion, most famous probably for the topless bathing suit, but also for creating all of those other kinds of youthquake fashions. I thought it was important that we acknowledge that it's not just the Mary Quants and the Andre Courreges, but that Rudy Gernreich really helped put youth fashion on the radar.
The relationship between line, space, and movement defined a Jeffrey Bean's cerebral approach to getting dressed.
I think movement in clothes is a very part of modernity. Certainly the pace of living is increasing day by day, and the designer has to be ready to accommodate that.
Over the years, elaborate show presentations became the ultimate backdrop to the architectural style that is Jeffrey Bean.
Jeffrey Bean was acknowledged by his peers in the industry as having been a really brilliant creative force, easily the equal of European couturiers.
He has really defined who he is as a designer and has worked within that framework without really bending to every trend or every fad or industry demands.
I have not used other people as my resource of inspiration. The clothes are original. I'm proud of that. And I just think clothes should be enduring. So rather than revolutionize, I think I have evolved with my work.
Norman Norell started his career as a costume designer. He brought to ready-to-wear a flair that included feminine necklines and flirty cocktail dresses.
It was the American designer Norman Norell who most inspired me.
You have Norman Norell, who was the quintessential designer of 7th Avenue. He was a gentleman and really had an American idea about fashion way back in the 60s.
Bill Blass is one of the great designers of the world. He has been doing it for so many years. It's always fresh and new.
For 40 years, Bill Blass's interpretation of metropolitan dressing defined the must-have wardrobe for sophisticated women.
When I first came into the business, designers were totally unknown. I changed all that. I insisted on going on the road, taking the collection out. I wanted to work with the women who were wearing the clothes and find out about them.
I always have this feeling that he's designing, for a dame, for a really tough, chic, sophisticated, but ballsy woman. And I think that's a really great way of defining American women.
It's been a very gratifying career, and being able to do something that truly I love doing and wanted to do from the time I was a kid. But there's so many other things I'd like to be doing now.
Fashion's Walk of Fame, an enduring endorsement recognizing the influence of American design.
Like right now, I feel myself like a young photographer just starting. I don't feel like the best work is done yet at all.
Patrick Demarchelier's career as a fashion photographer began as a hobby and emerged as an art. His style earned him the honor of being Princess Diana's first non-royal photographer.
I like to bring out the personality of the people I photograph. I don't like to make fake image, and somebody like to bring the truth, the reality, the truth, the real personality.
Industry insiders appreciate Demarchelier's unique vision and work ethic.
He doesn't try to, he doesn't put a weird lens on or get a weird angle where you can't tell who the model is.
Well, I like working with Patrick because he makes you feel really comfortable. Sometimes I don't understand his French, but I know what he means.
Patrick's amazing. He just brings life and enjoyment to all the shoots.
It's like yoga.
Demarchelier's projects from film to advertising and editorial encompass his signature style. In past years, countless books and exhibitions have provided a unique retrospective of Demarchelier's career.
He makes the whole business of photography look so simple, whereas in fact it's very complex. To have all the people, to do all the makeup, to get their attention, to make them look good and feel good and be there, give you what they have.
I got to go to Coco Chanel's apartment, and it's been untouched. Patrick and I were really excited, and he called me Coco the whole day, which was kind of spooky. It's one of my favorite fashion moments.
Demarchelier, creating profound images.
Some people can be famous, some people are unnamed, like a few people don't know, there's nobody really. It doesn't matter, we're all human beings, no? Everybody's the same in fact, no? It's never finished. It's not like you can sit down and say, oh, I make it. You never make it. You always have to improve yourself and keep going on, no?
Perhaps no other designer has influenced the way we dress as much as Italian designer Giorgio Armani. Over 2 decades ago, when fashion was dictated by trend-setting extravagance, Armani's radically simplistic approach to getting dressed came to define early ready-to-wear.
Quando ho cominciato a fare questo lavoro mi sono detto che cosa si può fare nella moda per cambiare la moda senza stravolgere la mentalità della gente, senza essere troppo avanguardia, e mi sono detto che era il caso di fare una moda molto più razionale.
In the arena of menswear, Armani contributed a softer garment construction, and for women, a subtle feminine interpretation of suiting well reflected the times of modern women.
I think that he has changed the shape of how we feel about clothing.
Io ho iniziato il mio lavoro nella moda occupandomi di moda maschile e questo sicuramente ha influenzato un po' le mie scelte successive.
Succedeva molto spesso che queste giacche se le infilavano così per scherzo queste amiche comuni e veniva spontaneo la domanda: perché non le fai anche da donna queste cose?
He's allowed women to find both femininity and confidence in a business suit.
In October 2000, the Guggenheim Museum celebrated a quarter century of Armani design with a retrospective show. The look back underscored the designer's vision of eliminating the superfluous and stressing the harmony of the most essential details of design, material, and cut. His work, however, has not been devoid of extravagant moments, and his celebrity following attests to that.
For me, he's the only one. I dress Armani more than 20 years.
His clothes celebrate the female and the male form in every shape and dimension.
There's something about it that's incredibly unique and recognizable without ever being pedestrian.
Putting on an Armani dress or suit gives you a sense of self-confidence that is really unparalleled. You walk in and you feel like you can handle anything the room has to offer you.
Armani's collections continue to echo his sentiment for uncomplicated day dressing and subtle embellishment for night.
La moda è una maniera di esprimere le proprie sensazioni, è una maniera di far capire al prossimo come tu sei dentro. Quando disegno penso sempre a quello che sarà lo scopo finale, cioè a vedermi portati per la strada, perché solo così diventa un fatto reale la moda, non è soltanto un divertissement, una cosa fine a se stessa.
I never met or heard of a company that doesn't have a great strategy. I'm a true believer that the only thing that counts is execution, execution, execution.
In 2004, the Gucci Group's CEO, Domenico De Sole, with his design dynamo, Tom Ford, stepped down from the house they rebuilt. Contract negotiations were cited as the cause. When De Sole left New York for Milan in 1994, Gucci was nearly bankrupt. However, under his direction and with the creative guidance of Ford, Gucci became one of the most successful fashion houses of the 90s.
I'm so lucky because I don't think most designers have that sort of business counterpart. You know, Domenico I completely trust on the business side. He completely trusts me on the design side. We're both very driven. We're both very quick to make decisions.
I talk to Tom every day. We talk about stores, the future of the company.
We both have the same goals, which is to build Gucci and to make it a stronger and stronger and stronger company.
1999 was a busy year for De Sole. First, he fended off a hostile takeover and then began to pursue his multi-brand agenda. In the ultimate coup, Gucci Group purchased the house of Yves Saint Laurent.
I'm going to continue designing the collections at Gucci, but I'll also be very involved at Yves Saint Laurent.
De Sole and Ford went on to acquire a majority stake in a plethora of high-end European labels, including Sergio Rossi.
The key thing for us, I think, is to make sure that we pay the right price for whatever we buy. And then most important is what we do with it.
Among other positions, De Sole now serves on the board of clothing giant The Gap. Vivienne Westwood has been creating her original collections for over 3 decades. Westwood's road to success began in the 70s when she met her future partner and lover, Malcolm McLaren, manager of the legendary British punk band, The Sex Pistols.
I decided to help my boyfriend, who was mad about clothes, and I just began to sew for him, and eventually got him a small shop.
Westwood's daring design hit the runway in 1981, and she became one of the leading innovators of fashion. Westwood's designs, always steeped in English tradition, keep an eye on the past, incorporating everything from puss to crinoline.
I've always been interested in the coquetry of the 18th century and 17th and 19th. The clothes from this period are so grand and important. You discover such a fund of rich ideas. Looking at it from modern eyes, it's different, and it becomes more flirtatious because women are allowed, again, I think, to be flirtatious.
And she's always thinking about the coquette and the courtesan and the woman who can actually have a good time. And that is not to say that this woman is loose or too promiscuous. She's simply a woman who understands her body. And Vivienne really plays to that.
The provocative designer upholds tradition and continues to present collections that are distinctively Westwood.
This is really, really extreme. It's styling to the nth possibility. If you would see a woman looking like that in the street, or if you see her on the catwalk, the real message is, I am expensive. The theme of the collection is winter, and this is something rather pagan in the middle of the winter, this hope of the spring and everything. I think what's futuristic about it is the perspective that it has. The whole thing is so lyrical.
I am known as an innovator. The thing I'm most proud of, if anything, is my cut. And historically, I have really contributed to the fashion vocabulary.
Universally recognized as one of the most prolific designers of the 20th century, German-born Karl Lagerfeld never rests on his laurels. Not only has Lagerfeld designed a signature label, but collections for the Italian house of Fendi and the French houses of Chloe and Chanel. Few, if any, in the fashion world can keep up with Lagerfeld's creative stamina.
I can make fashion only the way I see life, because fashion is life in a way.
Karl Lagerfeld has had as much influence as any designer of our time. He has done things with clothes and shows and models that were unprecedented.
As a designer, you see with Karl Lagerfeld how he constantly reinvents himself. And that's pretty clever in fashion, because at the same time he has to follow a current so you know what it's about.
I'm an opportunist, I'm an intellectual opportunist. I like the change of fashion, that's why this job is perfect for me.
In 1963, Lagerfeld joined Chloe, the most famous ready-to-wear house of the time, as its chief designer. After leaving his mark for 20 years, he left in 1984, only to return in 1993 for 4 more years. Lagerfeld's work on behalf of the Roman Fendi sisters would forever change the way women wear fur.
Fendi has this sort of Italian flavor, which he blasts out from there.
Permanently in quest of a challenge, Lagerfeld launched his own house in 1984.
What you see at Lagerfeld is Karl. It's his history, it's his background, it's his upbringing, him growing up in Germany and also being in Paris.
In 1983, Karl joined the House of Chanel, and his arrival changed the course of fashion history and returned Chanel to the pinnacle of fashion.
The most important thing is to give the spirit of the house the touch needed for the new century. Never an ultimate lady for any look, because there are no ultimate look. They can be right for the moment, but moments change. So it's up to me to update and to continue.
We've been blessed with the genius of Karl Lagerfeld. He's taken a basic core look and he's updated it. Using these Chanel elements, he's made it young, fresh, modern.
He revived Chanel, totally. So that Chanel is almost contemporary today because of him. And really, it's a very boring, old-fashioned suit, basically.
Be a lady, but don't be a bore.